Welcome to Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff, and on today's show, we're going to go position group by position group, breaking down the Miami Dolphins depth chart and roster after the NFL draft and the Odell Beckham Jr. signing that happened last Friday. It's a very talented group. I want to give you my projected starters, at least as of now, give you some concerns and, well, overall thoughts on the group. Before we get into that, though, we are in a May sub battle. Dolphins Today, we have 69 subscribers in the month of May. It's very nice, but we are losing to Patriots today by 18, so hit that sub button, help us out. We can't lose to the Patriots in the sub battle. We're too good for that. Let's start off with the quarterbacks, and no surprise here, Tua Tagovailoa at QB1. I have Mike White as QB2 right now, Skylar Thompson as QB3, and then the UDFA out of UTEP, Gavin Hardison at QB4. And obviously the main question when you look at this group is Tua, right? Up for a contract extension. Are the Dolphins going to give him one? It seems like all signs are pointing to yes, and I believe they should. Coming off a year where he completed 69% of his passes, led the league in passing, and was able to play all 17 games in the regular season, something that he was not able to do in the year prior. The question that we have on Tua is, can he win the big games? Because even though he did lead the league in passing, and the Dolphins had the best offense in football last year, there was no doubt that at the end of the year, the Dolphins faltered a little bit. And it all was encapsulated with that brutal showing on the road in Kansas City. I get it. Cold games are going to happen. And I also understand that that was a record-breaking cold game. So I'm not going to say it's too crazy, but I will also put this out for you. If you want to win in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, you're going to have to make your way through some tough Northeast environments, especially being in the AFC. So can the Miami Dolphins have Tua lead them to those big game wins in very cold environments? That's the only question that remains to be seen. But show some love to QB1. Spam those unos for Tua. Obviously, the number that he wears. I am a big fan of Tua. I think he's going to have another fantastic year in this Mike McDaniel offense with a lot of weapons to distribute the ball to. I think he's in for a big one. Spam your ones. Let's head over to the running back depth chart here, where I think this is one of the strongest groups on this team. You have Raheem Moestert, Devon Achane, and then the fourth-round pick, Jalen Wright, now slotting in at the RB3 position. You also have Chris Brooks, Salvon Ahmed, and Jeff Wilson Jr., and then obviously the fullback, Alec Ingold, as well. And the one thing that I have to say on this depth chart is speed, speed, and more speed. Your top three running backs, Achane, Wright, Moestert, all ran a sub 4.4 at the NFL Combine. You already had the fastest running back room with just Moestert, Achane, and Wilson. Now you add Jalen Wright into this, and you are going to have one of the most diverse running back rooms in the entire NFL with a lot of speed. And to me, I also believe that Jeff Wilson Jr. is likely going to be cut or traded. He's just going to be on the outs. And I do understand he could provide some nice things to Miami, and maybe they go the other route of cutting Brooks or Ahmed, but I think they're too good on special teams. Wilson does give you a little bit of a different running style with physicality. He's a little bit of a bigger guy, but just with Wright, who's really good in pass protection in the passing game coming out of Tennessee, and then Achane and Moestert already there, who were a great duo last year, I think Wilson's on the outs, and I'd expect to see him get cutted or traded. Cutted, I don't think that's a word, but be cut or traded. Yeah, Cullen's telling me that's not a word. We'll work on that. All right, let's move over to the wide receiver depth chart here. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle obviously headline this group. And then the newcomer at wide receiver 3, Odell Beckham Jr. Then you got rookie Malik Washington, who was selected in the 6th round out of Virginia. I'm a big fan of Malik. I think he's going to be dynamic as that 4th guy for Miami, being able to fill in if a injury occurs and be a good slot guy. There's going to be a lot of turnover in this wide receiver room. Berrios, Craycraft, Eazy-E, Taj Washington, Schwartz. Like, not all of these guys can make the roster. They're likely going to run 6 deep. So who is going to be the 2 not pictured that makes the roster? I'll still probably bet on Berrios for special teams value, but will Craycraft get it? Will the 7th rounder out of USC, Taj Washington, make it? It will be an intriguing battle that we'll have to watch in training camp during August. I'll say this, though, folks. Odell Beckham Jr. will be massive for the Miami Dolphins. You already had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but getting a big-bodied wide receiver that is also versatile in OBJ that could play on the perimeter, could play the Z, can also slide into the slot if absolutely necessary. He will only add more weaponry and more versatility to this Dolphins wide receiver room, which Tua, in entering year 5, will absolutely need in order to him get paid. I think Odell Beckham Jr. will only bring more dangerous levels to this offense, and I love the signing of OBJ at only $3 million base with up to $8.5 million in value. And I don't think there will be any added players to this group. We speculated if they could add Odell Beckham Jr. They obviously did. And now that you have, this group is absolutely dynamic. You have everything you could ask for. You have speed, size, red zone threats with OBJ, and then you have the slot of Malik Washington. That was the only knock on this group, really, is the size. I know OBJ is only 5'11", but he can play way above that size and is still one of the best contested catch guys in the NFL. Let's move over to the tight end room now, and this room is intriguing to say the least. I think Jonnu Smith is one hell of an addition to this team. He is really good after the catch, actually the best tight end in the entire NFL in terms of yards after catch. That is statistically proven. Durham Smythe did some nice things last year, but you're just not too deep outside of those 2 guys, and I kind of think one injury could be absolutely devastating to this group. If you do suffer an injury to Smith, to Smythe, you are very, very limited in your tight end room. Not a big fan of Julian Hill. I think you can get some nice things out of the UDFA, Hayden Rucci, either be a fullback protege to Alec Ingold or in that tight end room. But I'd like to add a 3rd guy just in case Jonnu Smith or Durham Smythe goes down. Hopefully they don't, but you never know. The offensive line group is obviously very, very intriguing and probably one of the biggest question marks on this team. I like the bookends in Austin Jackson and Teron Armstead, and obviously the 55th overall pick, Patrick Paul, as that swing tackle who is learning behind Armstead. And I also don't hate Kendall Lamb as a second swing tackle for Miami. But the question is on the interior. Isaiah Wynn, can he stay healthy? Aaron Brewer replacing Connor Williams after you signed him to a 3-year deal. And then you lost Robert Hunt to the Panthers in free agency on a 5-year deal. Can Robert Jones be that replacement? We've talked a lot about it on the channel already, and I'm going to stand firm on this stance. I just think you need to add another guard to this room. Robert Jones is fine, but I'd like to see what you have in competition. There's 2 guys that really stand out to me that I'd like to bring in, those 2 being Dalton Reisner, who played with the Vikings last year, previously with the Broncos, and then Greg Van Roten. And Reisner's the popular name amongst Dolphins fans, but I think Van Roten's a better fit. He graded out better last season when he played for the Las Vegas Raiders. Reisner's been better in his career, but he's also only played left guard in his career. Van Roten played right guard for the Raiders last season, and obviously that right guard spot is the location that you need the most on this Dolphins offensive line. I think both would be good signings, but I do lean GVR. Today's Dolphins Today is sponsored by Mando, and as the summer is upon us, you do not want to be the smelly one at your summer get-togethers, and you need a deodorant that can handle the heat. Mando is that deodorant. It's clinically proven to work hard all day. Instead of covering up BO with heavy fragrances, Mando actually stops odor at the stores, stopping the stink from happening in the first place. It's created from a doctor. Mando's whole body deodorant is powerful enough for the toughest body odor, but gentle enough to use everywhere, allowing you to put Mando on the family jewels without any worry. And it's so versatile as well. They got different products to make sure you're smelling good every single step you take. They have Odor Shield Body Wash. Listen, they all come part of the starter pack too, which you'll get $5 off when you use code chat at shopmando.com. They also got deodorant wipes. I mean, they got everything you could possibly need in this starter pack. So get it today at mando.com and use code chat. It's perfect, man. You get 2 free products of your choice alongside a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant. Those free products could be mini body wash and deodorant wipes like I just showed you. They also give you free shipping. Luckily, though, I have that discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code chat at shopmando.com. One more time, that is code chat at shopmando.com. Link is in the description and comments of today's video. Let's move over to the defensive line now. Zach Sieler is headlining this group after Christian Wilkins lost in free agency. Teair Tart is coming over from the Houston Texans at the defensive line position. And then Neville Gallimore at defensive line position number 3 is intriguing to me. I like what Tart is going to bring to the table, but I'm still skeptical of Christian Wilkins being gone because, well, him and Sieler were solid together, but they were not ever relying on Sieler to headline the group. Now, how will he perform without Christian Wilkins? Could Calais Campbell be someone Chris Grier goes out and sign? I know a lot of us want an offensive lineman or maybe Justin Simmons, but Campbell would be able to come in and beef up that interior defensive line so he can get after the quarterback, but also be a very solid run stopper. If you don't believe Sieler and Tart can be that duo on the interior defensive line, I would be all in on bringing Calais Campbell, who's been a great veteran in the National Football League. He's up there in age, but on a 1-year deal trying to chase a championship ring, he could make a very big impact on this Dolphins roster. Be honest, though, we talked about the concerns with the offensive line, and now my concerns with the defensive line. But which position group scares you the most on the Miami Dolphins? Not in terms of striking fear into their opponent, but actually striking fear into you that you are not that confident in. Let me know the position group down below. I don't think you could possibly say linebacker because I think this group is very, very solid. You obviously look at the edge group of Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, Shaq Barrett, Mohamed Kamara. That edge group is unbelievable. But then you think about the interior linebacker group. I like Jordan Brooks coming in and replacing Jerome Baker, if I'll be honest. Those two I think are going to be solid for Miami. And then you got Anthony Walker Jr., Riley Duke, Channing Tindall. We'll see if he's able to make the roster. He has given you nothing over the past 2 seasons, but I like Long and Brooks with Walker as that third guy. And as I mentioned, that edge group is absolutely elite, man. I think it's the best group in all of football. The duo of Chubb and Phillips is second to none. And you throw in Shaq Barrett as a third guy in rotation, and then 2 rookies in Chop Robinson and Mohamed Kamara. Kamara being a steal in the 5th round. I'm all in on those top 5 guys, and assuming you're able to stay healthy, there will just simply not be a better rotation of edges in the NFL. Let's go to the cornerback group here, which has seen one big name swap out for another. You still have Jalen Ramsey in that CB1 role with Kader Kohou in the nickel, but Kendall Fuller is now your CB2 instead of Xavier Howard. His numbers weren't fantastic last year in coverage for the Washington Commanders, but he's been very good over the course of his career. And Xavier Howard, as sad as it is, just simply was not that effective last year opposite of Jalen Ramsey. So bringing in Kendall Fuller is going to be intriguing. I like the value got on him as well. I think the CB room is very solid. I expect a second-year bump for Cam Smith, as he didn't see a lot of action on the field last year as well, and see if Nick Needham can continue to improve to be that 4th or 5th corner. The safety room is one I'm very fond of as well, but only at the top 2. I think you still need some depth. I like Holland. I like Jordan Poyer, but I don't like what's behind them. You have 2 undrafted free agents in Colbert and Mark Perry, Patrick McMorris, who was drafted in the 6th round, and Campbell is that 3rd guy. I'd like to add another player to this room. And we talked about potentially adding Calais Campbell or an interior offensive lineman. I think there needs to be someone added in 2 of these 3 rooms. whether it be safety, O-line, or D-line. Could Justin Simmons be that guy? We talked about him on yesterday's show. He would provide a lot of flexibility and a lot of talent in this back-end group. And if you wanted to run a lot of 3 safety sets in this new Anthony Weaver-led defense, I think you'd be able to do that very effectively with Simmons and Poyer on the back end and using Holland in the Anthony Weaver kind of Kyle Hamilton role that was used last year in Baltimore. Plus, it would just give you more depth because, as I mentioned with the tight end room, you get one injury to this top 2 group of safeties, well, you're in a lot of trouble because I don't think Campbell is that effective as the 3rd guy, and then you're banking on UDFAs or a 6th round out of Cal, Patrick McMorris, to fill in. I get you're not going to be perfect on every part of your roster, but I do think a 3rd safety is absolutely necessary. All right, that's almost every roster. We'll talk about special teams here in just a second, but grade the Dolphins 2024 roster as it currently stands. Scale it 1 to 10 for me. I'm curious to what you have to say. If I'm grading it, no rookie scores here. I'll give it an 8.2. The offense is really, really good, especially with adding OBJ, and the defense I thought got better with the couple additions at the edge. Losing Robert Hunt and Christian Wilkins hurt, but I do think this roster is arguably better this year than it was last year. All right, before we do head out of here, I want to show love to these 3 because these guys are very consistent. Jason Sanders at kicker, Jake Bailey, who signed a 2-year deal in the offseason at punter, and then one of the best long snappers that position doesn't get talked about a lot, but good special teamer, Blake Ferguson. Also, shout out to Blake for switching numbers to 48, so Chop Robinson, the rookie from Penn State, can wear 44 that he did wear when he was in college. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure you follow me on social media at Nic_Rohloff. I'll have you covered on everything surrounding the Miami Dolphins. Like I said a little bit earlier, you would have known about the OBJ signing first on my Twitter because I tweeted about it and then made a video for you guys. So follow me over there. But also follow us on Instagram. Dolphins Today IG is the handle on Instagram. We're posting daily content over there, whether it be shorts, Instagram pictures, news, updates. We'll have it all. So give us a follow over there at Dolphins Today IG. I'll see you in the next video. Go Fins.